Dream a little dream with me.
Here we go again.
That's exactly right. Here I go. Here I go. Here
No.
I go again. What's a weakness then?
And on that out of tune note, let's talk dreaming about your fabulous gay retirement.
This is Queer Money, episode number 547. And today we're sharing the very first step in turning your retirement nightmares into a fabulous gay retirement dream.
Now on with the show.
Capital One Auto Navigator does more than just auto financing. We're here to help you find a car you love, too. Shop millions of cars from thousands of dealers nationwide. Research your favorite makes and models. Explore dealers near you and more. All on Auto Navigator.
So with that very inspiring intro, hopefully you know that we want to turn those retirement nightmares into a fabulous gay retirement dream. In order to do that, we've outlined some steps for you that we're going to go sequentially over the next couple of weeks. Simple micro steps that you can do in a weekend or a week at the very most, to get to that dream retirement that you want. And today we're going to share the very first step we think that's important to make that dream a reality.
Yeah. The one of the things I think it's important is to remember the whole gamut right here. Be a little bit realistic about what's possible for you in retirement. I mean, obviously, you're not going to retire in a chateau in the Alps if you are.
Why not?
If you're making $50,000 a year and haven't contributed to your retirement. So go within the band of possibility or realistically what's available. What is interesting is John and I just recently redid this exercise and updated it for ourselves based on some new information for our finances and our possible options personally. And it was so interesting that I think was that this morning or yesterday we went for, it was this morning. We went for a walk with the dogs, and I was talking about how excited I got when I thought about us doing this. Last night I was thinking about it, and then again this morning I got really excited because of the possibilities and what it does open up to us.
And so with that, we're going to share a little bit of a sneak behind the scenes look at what our dream retirements will look like and potentially cost, so that you can get some real life examples about how you might want to use this exercise for yourself. So basically, first step in figuring out and planning your dream retirement is to figure out your dream retirement.
Dream.
Exactly. This is a step that I don't think a lot of people do. And I think it seems too simple to do. I think a lot of people look at their bank account, they look at their 401k or the lack thereof, and they're like, I'm going to have the worst retirement ever. I don't want to think about it. And that's not very inspiring. Doesn't have to be that way.
Not any fun.
So we've been saying this for years, and also on the show and also for different interviews that we go on. What's the first thing to do is to just figure out, what does a dream retirement look like? Where will you be? Who will you be with? What will you do? When will you start retirement, or ideally start retirement? And just think about the more crystal clear you can get in your mind's eye of what this ideal retirement looks like for you, then you can kind of reverse engineer and figure out what it's going to take to get there. So that's a little bit getting ahead of the game. This week's exercise is to figure out what your dream retirement looks like. And then we're going to break it into, as David will share here in a moment, basic, happy, and fabulous buckets. So you have a range of goals that you can try to achieve, the more realistic, simpler, to the more lofty and aspirational. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One, N.A., member FDIC. David, I pass the ball to you.
A sports reference for John. I was expecting you to pass like the glass of wine or the bottle of wine.
I never pass the line. Right. It never gets past this line.
Exactly. All right. So the second part of this first step is to actually start to document those dreams. That way when you write it down, you actually can really see the difference between your basic retirement, your happy retirement, and your fabulous retirement. And I know that most of us are like, ew, basic. I don't want to be basic. But the reality is that I think it's important for us to map each of those out. Kind of think of it as you're at Golden Corral, right? You're at a buffet, and you have the option to put whatever you want on the plate. And you start off with your basics, and then you pile on some more, and then you pile on some more, right? So
Why did you not say that you were at an all-you-can-eat buffet at the Bellagio? Why did you come up with the Golden Corral?
I don't know. That was the first, because I don't really enjoy buffets, and I don't enjoy the Golden Corral. And that's probably, to me, the worst idea of a buffet.
Now
So
the Golden Corral will never sponsor
I know,
this
I'm not-
podcast.
you know what? If you love the Golden Corral, do the Golden Corral. Hey, if Golden Corral wants to sponsor this show, we'll definitely take their money. I'm just kidding. But I think what this really does is it helps you see visually what it is that your retirement could look like. And so we're going to show you exactly what it looked like when we map these out. And so we do have some progressions and things that we want you to map out. For each of these buckets, we want you to make sure that you have the location of your retirement, the major expenses, and the activities. We're going to add more to this later, things like income, and we'll talk about that at another time. But think about what you would do in each of these buckets, basic, happy, and fabulous, with the idea of progressively each of them getting more expensive. You're having more and more income in your retirement. Happy, you have more income than basic. Fabulous, you have more income than happy. So you're going to go through these. So if you're looking at here what we've done, you're looking at how we've mapped out each of these. So for example, location. In our basic, we basically have said that basic, we would stay here in Toledo. We would continue to live in a duplex, continue to house hack that helps keep our expenses lower. In happy, our location is different. We now have either a condo or a home in Denver, one of our favorite cities in the United States, and that home would have a pool because we love water. We would have a garage to have our car in, and we would be in a location where we have high walkability. But then if we were in our fabulous retirement, the location actually is even more fabulous, right? We actually have a condo or a house in Sitges, our favorite foreign city, that is within walking distance to the beach and a view of the ocean.
You have ocean there. It is a sea.
You're correct. That is the
Mediterranean. I can't wait to see all the comments
Sea.
of people telling you it's the Mediterranean Sea, not the Mediterranean Ocean.
Right. But we would have that additional in our retirement in addition to the home in Denver. So you kind of see how progressively we go from a very simple, basic lifestyle, living in a duplex where we're living in one side, all the way up to having a condo in Sitges and a home or condo in Denver. Then the next step is to document what your lifestyle is going to look like. So what are some of the major expenses you're going to have? Things like housing, healthcare, travel. And this is for us. These are the buckets where we would put our major expense categories in. Exercise, entertainment, dining out, things like that, auto. But notice how with every single one, we add a little bit more. So if you drop down to the activities that we're doing, which are considered to be those basically add to our expenses, because you'll see that we have more activities. So for example, in basic, we love to travel. So with basic, we're still going to plan on traveling 1 to 2 times a year. Now that may mean that we're driving cross country and we're not flying internationally or flying. It's going to be that our travel expenses are considerably lower. But then in happy, we're traveling 3 to 5 times a year. And in fabulous, we're traveling 5+ times a year. Again, some of those may be that we're jetting off to another city in another country. And some of those may be that we're just driving a couple 100 miles to visit family. But we're planning on traveling a lot more. And you see how we map out each one of these to be a little bit more, right? For example, our hobbies went from reading and cooking, which is already kind of built into our expenses and our activities. Whereas with happy, we've added glass blowing, and with fabulous, we continue to add more things to that. And each one of these we will progressively add more expenses. And because of that, as you can see, I've already added major expenses to each of these, or estimates to each one of these major expenses. We'll talk more in another video about how to calculate your total expenses and then the income that you would need to be able to achieve each of these. But this really is your first step. Your first step is spending some time dreaming about what your retirement will look like in the basic, happy, and fabulous buckets, and then documenting the basic, happy, and fabulous, so you have a crystal clear picture of what the possibilities are for you and the lifestyle that you want.
Exactly. So that's your first assignment. Simply dream about your dream retirement. Then share your questions, thoughts, comments, findings, whatever you got going on wherever you're watching this episode, wherever you're listening to this episode, because we're using your feedback, your comments to help adapt this series. So we give you exactly what you want. Or feel free to simply reply to your weekly Queer Money newsletter, or you can email us directly at info@queermoneypodcast.com.
The mission of Queer Money is to financially empower the LGBTQ+ community. Join us in thanking Capital One for supporting that mission. Thank you for joining us for another episode. Come back next Thursday when we continue with adding that expenses and calculating your income that you will need for step one.
Until next time, stay fabulous. Bye.